Hello and welcome to another update video about Ethereum. The Ethereum chart today hasn't really moved much, not since my last update, but it's obviously at a key breakout point here at around 3030. It's actually broken already slightly above it, but so far hasn't really moved it, but it's consolidating around that level, which could be a bullish signal short term at least. And yeah, I mean, we see some things change on the ETH chart, right? I was already starting to get a little bit concerned that Ether might not start to outperform Bitcoin, but things are starting to look a little better. We take a look at that now. First of all, what's good is that even though the start down here was messy, essentially Ether has completed a potential 5-wave move to the upside into the February highs. So we're dealing here with a potential 5-wave move, okay? I have labeled it only wave 1 with a question mark because as the detailed count shows, we could also get another extension in wave 5 of 1. It just depends on how we count the move up. Unfortunately, wave counting is always a little bit subjective, so I prefer to use the Fibonacci levels as well, where they have to be used in addition. I cannot give you a very clear answer, but my tendency is to expect higher prices until the market gives us a signal. What kind of signal would that be? Well, I would still like to see a break below the last week's lows here, around 2,877. Would really like to see that as a signal that wave 2 has started. There's no guarantee anymore for a wave 2, okay? No guarantee. I did warn everybody already 1 or 2 weeks ago and said, okay, if we continue to rise and climb and a certain threshold is crossed, that indicates that we are already in the midst of a third wave rally, which means that we might not get this wave 2 pullback. How could that be, you're asking? Maybe you're asking that. A few people asked me in the comments. Well, it just depends. Typically, what we're looking for is a 5-wave structure, and then it should be corrected. However, there is a phenomenon that, well, you know, obviously it's a bit difficult to explain, and I will not make it very long, but, you know, in crypto, obviously you get these wild extensions, okay? And we're obviously watching a chart for potentials, and if the market shows pullbacks, they are opportunities, especially if we have identified something as an uptrend, and then pullbacks in an uptrend are opportunities. Now, we had a lot of opportunities here on the ETH chart, opportunities to load up, to add to core positions, okay, to get positioned. Wave 2, wave 2, wave 2. At some point, it's just gonna melt, okay? It's just gonna escalate, and you see, even in previous bullish runs, there are not always the pullbacks, sometimes only very shallow pullbacks. And at some point, you're just in the heart of a so-called third wave rally, like here. And then pullbacks are just extremely shallow. And that's sort of maybe, if you look at this, look a little bit about, you know, at how this looks, we could sort of be at the start of this. And that's what I mean, you know, at some point it's just gonna, there is not going to be that 5-wave move up anymore, you know, and the 3-wave pullback. I mean, from here we could have a 1-2, and then you see what's this? I mean, it's already very choppy, you know, a lot of overlaps, but potentially that was a leading diagonal. And then you have 5 waves up somewhere, and you're watching for a deep pullback. It just doesn't happen anymore, okay? And it just doesn't happen anymore because the market is already in that melt up phase, in that heart of a third wave rally. That's why pullbacks are never guaranteed. If they show, they can be opportunities, but they are counter trend moves. At some point, the sentiment is getting so bullish that corrections aren't happening anymore until later. And that's what I've sketched out here. If we get the break above 3,100, and it's not like, okay, we go to 3,110, it's going to escalate. Not really, not necessarily. But we know that the 78.6 extension is a little bit like a magical level. If the price breaks above it, it might escalate directly, okay? We had a situation like that on the Rune chart end of last year. Now, granted, we're now in a correction on the Rune chart, but that is the next 4th wave, yeah? That could be what would be here, maybe this 4th wave. But Rune just escalated in the heart, in the main element of that third wave rally. Also Rune, yeah? Here you could have said, okay, we had a 1-2 setup here. Okay, where was the additional 1-2? Just didn't happen, or it was so small. Because the third waves, we typically want to get positioned at the beginning of a third wave because of that, okay? Especially in crypto. And it just escalated just a long third wave rally without additional pullbacks. Okay, so that is what could happen on the ETH chart, maybe even a little bit more aggressively, but also here in a short period of time, this chart just made a 360%. And on the ETH chart, if we talk about, okay, bull market targets, 8 to 12K from here. I mean, that's not even 200%. So, okay. So I hope that is clear. Obviously, it's a very bullish structure. I haven't really talked about anything else for more than a year. This structure hasn't really changed. Yeah, maybe the labels have here and there moved a little bit, but overall, the bullish outlook for Ether hasn't changed. Therefore, as I said, we need a signal to confirm that some kind of a top is in place. That would be a break below 2,877. Against that level, the focus can be on higher still, because we have not seen any signal that the uptrend is over. And the next level is 3,100 to watch, and above that 3,236. But when we get there, maybe we don't even get that wave 2 pullback anymore. I mean, we could still, but the probabilities reduce. Okay, so that's sort of what I'm watching. And then also what's interesting on the ETH BTC chart, obviously watching that for some clues if Ether is starting to outperform Bitcoin. And let's go to the 1 hour chart. On that chart, I think we have a 5-wave move up again. We had 5 waves up here, 3 waves down, 5 waves up. It's looking good. We're now approaching a trend line, so this is where it could get a little bit of resistance. There's only ETH BTC. It doesn't really have so much to do with the USD chart. But obviously, those two together, if ETH BTC is going up, Ether is outperforming Bitcoin. That's what we see right now. Expect a little bit of resistance here. And if we now see a corrective pullback, then we might have another. So 1-2, 1-2 setup, and it could also escalate. And then we have the ETH BTC chart outperforming and ETH USD. Condition here is that the price does not, or not the price, it's ETH BTC basically does not break below 0.051 BTC. That's my update about Ether. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.